What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you the Belle deck that was played for this week's Campus Championship. This deck is really rad. It's got a lot of really good tools off of Void that do a lot of flipping. I think that mentality is like almost exclusively reserved for the Earth symbol, but there are a ton of really good choices on Void in order to make the most out of this character. Really, really rad stuff. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the profile. All right, so if you haven't seen one of my deck profiles before, basically what I'm going to be doing is, as opposed to just reading off the cards verbatim, I'm going to be telling you more about how the deck wants to work, and this is a fairly interesting, eloquent deck. Before we jump into it, I will say that this deck is actually missing 3 attacks from the intended list, and the list that I will link down below. It was supposed to have 3 Matricide in it, Belle's attack, but whenever we made the deck, we forgot to put them in, and so it ran the whole tournament without them, and had some fairly positive results. So with that said, what does Belle want to do? So Belle wants to punish my opponent for having face downs and for blocking. So once per turn, if my opponent blocks, my next attack is pretty much going to ignore progressive difficulty, and Belle gets to selectively flip one of the problem cards in my opponent's staging area. Not to mention, she says enhance flip 2 foundations, no more enhances can be played. So if my opponent's got this really big combo play that they're going to be doing, if they have a Coffee Samba, sure, we can both draw the 2 cards, but I'll flip my 2 foundations and now you can't do anything else. Really, really strong ability, turning a non-flash attack into essentially a flash attack. You get 1 enhance, and my enhance is going to be flip my 2 foundations. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the profile. So the main kill card that we're playing with is 4 Downward Spiral. This card is fantastic inside of a 7-hander. Especially a 7-hander that says I can play a card very late in my chain. One of the best ways to play Downward Spiral is, the 7th card that you play. And so if I've got like 4 or 5 cards in my card pool, I play my attack, my opponent blocks it, they've got 3 or 4 face downs. Well, now my Downward Spiral's got minus difficulty for each of those face downs that they have. Not to mention I'm adding another one. It's just bad news bears for my opponent. And so with the threat of Spiral coming in, my opponent pretty much is not allowed to block anything. Especially, well, they are allowed to block, but it's just like they have to really weigh the pros and cons of blocking, because we never know when a Downward Spiral is going to come out of nowhere. Up next, we've got 3 Costa de Leviathan. This card's just a really good card to put my opponent into the danger zone. I want my opponent to exist at desperation as quickly as I can, and it's a 7-high for 5. They're giving up so many resources in order to block this thing. So I equate Costa de Leviathan honestly to like a 5 damage fatality. It's like, as long as I can pass this check and not commit any extra foundations, it being a 5 diff as opposed to fatality being a 0, I'm kind of just smacking them for 5. And its ability is just icing on the cake. The absolute best momentum out that you could possibly have under the Void symbol. That's opinionated, though. Up next, we're playing Double Sagaki Offering. This card just punishes my opponent's block even more. So let's say that they do block with like a 2 or a 3 a block. Sure, I'm going to flip it. My Sagaki's not going to count, and then my Sagaki's going to get absolutely massive. It could be like a 6-high for 9 if they block with a 3-high block. Really, really strong from just a 5 difficulty, especially a pre-Bebop era card. Not to mention a little bit of draw power, which is never bad. Speaking of draw power, we're playing double Mop Strike. Mop Strike says that my opponent randomly discards a card, and then we both draw a card. And then if they discard a card, I get to draw an extra one. Just really gnarly stats. 4/3, 4-high for 4. It's got a good 1 mid block. This is just a really good utility card inside of any deck. And the last attack that we're playing inside the deck, remember we're missing 4 Matricide, is for Shin Ryukan. This card is just to guarantee that my combos string out. It was in here to make sure that Matricide passed, because Matricide has a combo with attack, but we're not playing that. So this just says that my Downward Spirals will never fail. It's really good. It's a 4-high for 6 damage because of its ability comboing with an attack, and they don't want to block it because it says not only am I going to stack a 5 or a 6 on top of my deck, but now Belle's going to guarantee that I pass my thing. So it being a 6 damage attack that they can't really block, it's just really solid. There's not a lot of interactivity happening inside of this Belle deck. Moving on to reactions, we're playing a triple revoke. Being able to cancel and enhance is super, super strong. Being able to build extra foundations as the first form is really good. It's just an all-around swell card. Speaking of not having any fun, we're playing 3 of the Togoro Brothers. After my opponent plays an ability on one of their foundations or assets, I'm going to play this and destroy it, and I can choose to either remove it from the game or draw a resource to replace it. Very, very strong card. This in tandem with Triple Revoke is just honestly the no fun squad. If you have the opportunity under Evil or Void to play 3 of each of these cards, I highly, highly suggest, or at least 2 of. But sometimes these cards can be a little expensive depending on who you pick them up from. Up next, action-wise, we're playing 3 Your Path Ends Here. This is one of the big flip tools that we have inside of Belle. As an action, after they play... after we block with it, they flip or they discard cards, or I can take and give this attack plus damage or minus damage, or they discard cards, or they flip cards to cancel. And so I'm just constantly trying to tear apart their staging area with this plus some of the other foundation tools that I have. And then my last attack that I'm playing is, my last action is 1 Race Against Time. This takes 1 piece and turns it in 1 attack and turns it into another attack. Hey, Shinryukan is a 4 difficulty attack, and maybe I did want it to be a downward spiral. Well, Race Against Time lets that happen. I have a Kasa and I want a Sagaki, or vice versa. Now I can make that happen. And the main reason it was in here was to turn those 5 difficulties into matricides and then respond and give it absolutely massive stats. But apparently we didn't need it. Assets, we're playing 1 Requiem, make this attack really big, make this attack very small by committing, and then they can flip a card to cancel it, just disrupting their staging area. 1 Nirvana stops keyword abilities, so as we are destroying their staging area, we have to make sure that their attacks are not very useful as well, and Nirvana is one of the best ways to make that happen. We're playing 1 Maes and Aes. I think this card is actually the MVP of this specific deck because of the fact that it's not having matricides. We're only playing, I believe, 16 attack cards. And so because of that, this just lets us double down on having few attacks in our discard pile. And so I get to be very, very selective on what I put back in my deck. I think Void decks are actually going to be going about not having a ton of... attacks inside of their discard pile moving forward. On to the foundations. We actually are not playing any aggressive foundations. There are no foundations in this deck that actually like pump speed or damage or do some vitality loss in a very direct way. They're all flow cards that get me there, being able to pick up more attacks. So we are playing Double Not Over Till You Die. This is essentially just, hey, let's find an attack. I'll take and stack it on top of my deck, and if I have any sort of draw 1, like with Mop Strike, I just get to add it up into my hand. It lets me get away with having fewer attacks in my deck. And if you don't have Mop Strike, we can also just use a Voice of Reason. In hands once per turn, we both discard a card and then draw a card. And so I stack and then draw my card up. We're playing Double Profane Sanctuary as my next flow card. And the reason it's a flow card is we can't get breakered. I know we're only playing a couple of attacks, but that means that those attacks have to be useful. And if my opponent stops me on my kill turn by breakering me, then the game's going to be over. So I have to be able to flip and cancel that and continue to play my cool stuff. We're playing Double Water Freezes. I went ahead and put this in the flow category because of the fact that Pure of Heart is such a volatile tool against this deck in particular. After I make them discard any cards, they discard the Pure of Heart, and they're going to rip apart my staging area. This has a form commit that says that Pure of Heart does not work. You have to mainboard 2 Water Freezes and then sideboard the other 2. Up next, we're playing Double Recovering Lost Treasures. This says that we make sure that our next check is incredible. It's basically like a pseudo copy of Shinryukan SRK. That it's just +2 to your check. You shuffle any card that you want back into your deck. It could be a foundation or an attack if you want to have more Maes and Aes plays. There's a lot of versatility that we have with recovering. Up next, defensive-wise, we're playing Double Telekinetic Mastery. After they increase a stat, we're going to attempt to decrease it by checking a 6. Normally that means just commit a foundation, but that is a totally okay cost. Triple Feifei, flip for -3 speed. Hey, I'm posturing that I'm going to block this thing. I know that this one thing is not going to kill me. We're playing Double Face of a Monster. It's kind of like Feifei, except for it's reusable over and over again. Response once per turn, -1 damage, or 1 speed, or response lose vitality for the -2, and it doesn't commit itself. Really, really solid ability. As well as once they get to Deadlock, now they are not allowed to play a bunch of extra cards into their staging area and reduce their hand, or else I'm just going to murder them. We're playing double Outworld's Eris as a bit of a defensive tool. This was used primarily to take away stun inside of the tournament, but it also says that I can enhance, remove, lose vitality, add a card up to their hand, and then use Downward Spiral to make them discard that card. Just get it out of your life. We're playing double Fate Intervene. This card says that I can commit. This is the main card that Tyler wanted to use inside of the Void symbol. Enhance commit. If I block this card, it deals no damage. Really fantastic for my my 7-hander with 19 life. And they can discard a card to cancel. They're going to be a little trepidatious about doing that just because if they can't kill you, even with me not getting to use my Fate Intervene, they have discarded a card, which means that my Downward Spirals are going to be even nuttier. We're playing double Uniting Rebels. Rebels just says once I'm at Desperation, I gain health. But the main thing I want to use with Rebels is I actually want to stack it with Shinryukan to make sure I can stack eat a 6 on top. We're playing 4 Match Made in Hell. Opponent's turn, flip, destroy one of any of my opponent's foundations. I get to pick, and then they add the top card of the deck to their staging area face down. So it is a destroy card as opposed to a flip card, and Belle wants them to have a bunch of face down. So this card just says flip, make Belle even better. Disruption, we're playing 1 Aswell's Little Doll. Discard a momentum after my opponent plays a responsibility. I get to cancel it. Living Pendulum, after they play an ability that uses speed, the speed stat, whether on my attack, your attack, either way, I commit and cancel it. 1 Esoteric Yoga, after they draw any number of cards, I commit and I make them discard a card, any card that they want. Be careful with the Pure of Heart plays, but this says that if they try to draw 2 off of some nutty thing, I'm just going to say no, and then we are fine. We get to continue to play them. And in the same vein, we're playing double Venomous as our last card. Playable wall, committed, destroy. After they try and add any number of cards to their hand, we just cancel it. Really good versus things like Passing the Torch or Punch and Judy or Nutcracker. It could be totally fine for a Venomous play. There's plenty to happen inside of Venomous. And so there you have it. There is Tyler's Belle deck that he played for this week's Retro Campus Championship Back to Standard. If you like this, make sure you check out all the matches that Belle got to play, as well as all the other deck profiles that we have here out on the channel. I'm sure we have more than one Belle profile. She's a really, really cool character from the Grim Fairy Tale DLC pack. If you like us and you want to join us live, please twitch.tv/TCGUniversity. We play these matches recorded every Tuesday with now a little bit of commentary over them, as well as make sure that you check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/TCGUniversity is the absolute best way to help support and grow the channel. So from all of us here at TCGU, thank you very much for watching this, and stay learned.